Hi everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our live webinar promoting your mobile app. We're here at Facebook headquarters and my name is Lauren Hale. I'm a strategic partner developer on our Facebook platform partnerships team, and I'm joined today by my colleague Kevin Pryor. Kevin, can you please share a little bit about yourself with everyone?
Yeah, hi everyone. I'm Kevin, as Lauren noted. I'm a product marketing manager working on mobile app ads. So I work very closely with Lauren on a lot of the new feature updates we come out with and making sure we help let you know about all these new things that are coming. They're really exciting.
Thanks, Kevin. Great. Well, today we're going to talk with you about how you can use Facebook's mobile app ads to both grow and promote your mobile apps. As Kevin mentioned, we work really closely on this product. And at the end of that, we're going to save time for a live Q&A where we'll answer your questions that you guys are asking us. So please make sure to leave a question or a comment in the box below the video. Great. Well, as we mentioned, we work really closely on mobile app ads, and we also work really closely with mobile developers. So as you know, if you're a mobile developer, there are a lot of mobile apps out there today. In fact, there are over 1.6 million mobile apps between the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store, which means, as we know from talking with developers, that it's really hard to break through and get discovered if you're creating a new mobile app. So because of that, our product team about a year ago decided to create the mobile app install ads product to really help developers break through and get in front of the right users. And it turns out the product works, which is great. So to date, we've helped over 8,400 advertisers drive over 145 million installs. And in fact, many of the developers that I work with and Kevin works with are some of the top grossing developers. And we've found that over 50% of those top grossing developers are using mobile app install ads to really grow their business. So now that I've explained what it is that we're doing here today, Kevin, can you please walk through how this ad product actually works?
Yeah, absolutely. So this might look a little familiar to you. This tiny little ad at the bottom of an app where you sort of, you can barely read the text. So it's illegible. It's got, very little creative options. And most people will kind of accidentally click these. So you're sort of browsing an app and you accidentally click this ad and you just didn't mean to. You had no real purpose in doing so. So we've saw this as a really bad experience for any app developer that's really trying to get, use mobile ads to advertise their apps. So when we actually went out and built these mobile app ads, we took this into account. So if you actually take a look at what our ads look like, the sheer amount of real estate on the phone itself just shows what you can really do and how much you can really convey your message to the mobile user. So you see here there's copy, there's huge creative, there's a very clear call to action, and even better than that, it shows up in a user's newsfeed. So it actually feels sort of organic and it feels like it's in the right place. It feels a part of their content rather than being a disruption at the bottom of the screen. So, and we've just, as Lauren noted, we've already seen a lot of success with this. And the more exciting part is that it not only gives you this huge amount of real estate, this huge ability to be creative and really convey your message, we also have the capability of driving users right then and there to the App Store to install. So we, as a result, we see really great conversion. We see really quick, easy, fast click-to-install rates for your users. So again, we've already talked through a little bit about the aggregate and huge success we've seen overall. But I'd really like to turn over to Lauren to talk about a specific partner and a small, actually a small mobile app developer who saw a lot of success using Facebook.
Thanks, Kevin. So as he noted, this is an example of a smaller developer who found success with our mobile app ads. This is actually one of my partners, Lightricks, great group of guys based out of Israel. And they created an app called Facetune, which essentially allows you to edit your photos so that you look better. Who wouldn't like that? Well, the great thing is that when Facetune initially launched, they checked their ranking in the US Apple App Store under paid apps, and they saw that they were ranked at number 283. Well, within 5 days of using mobile app install ads, we actually watched them shoot up to the number 2 position in the App Store, which was great, especially for the small group of guys who are building an awesome app to really get discovered and noticed. That said, Having an awesome app and really helping people find it and open and install it is really just the first step. Once you do that, and once you break through the clutter of the millions of app developers out there, then you need to fight for real estate and space of mind on a person's phone. So as we know, an average user has over 40 apps on their phone. Once you're on the phone, how do you continue to engage them and ensure that they're continuing to open and use your mobile app? One thing that we found is that over 66% of users only open mobile apps between 1 and 10 times. So our product team, noticing this problem again for mobile developers, wanted to help tackle it head on. And so we recently launched a product called Mobile App Ads for Engagement and Conversion, which Kevin worked closely on. So Kevin, can you explain a little bit more about this ad product and how developers can use this to help engage their users?
Yes, absolutely. So as Lauren noted, it is a problem where discoverability is the first issue. And once you break through that, and once you get installed on the phone, you really want to discover how to get share of mind. And so what we did is we tried to help app developers take that next step in the funnel and really see how can I retarget these app users and get them to come back and take actions within my app. So we actually have a really great video that sort of shows the experience of a mobile app engagement ad that I'm just going to show very quickly that I think helps you see how this works. So as you can see, someone is kind of scrolling through Newsfeed. They see Hotel Tonight, a really great booking app. They already have it installed, and they are interested in the new offer. They click Book Now, and now they're in the app and looking at a hotel that is really interesting. They're in a specific place in the app, and they can actually go and convert. And so that's really the purpose of these ads, is to help people drive to specific parts of the app, engage, convert, and take actions within the app, not just be an installed user, but be an active user. And so we think that's sort of the next step. This is where mobile app advertising is going, and we're really excited to have this new capability. And so we'll kind of switch gears a little bit and talk about, hey, this all sounds really great and fun and amazing, but how do I actually do this? Like, what are the actual steps I have to take to set up these ads? So to get started, we have a few different tools and a few different resources you can use. So one of those is our Ads Create tool. And our Ads Create tool is our very simple interface to set up an ad. For installs, this is even easier to use because you can take your iTunes URL or your Google Play Store URL, simply paste it into our Ads Create tool, what we like to call our one link flow, and we'll recognize your app, we'll pull in some of the creative, and you'll be able to quickly set up an ad. So we'll have a video in a few moments on how that works. Another way to get started is using what's called Power Editor. Power Editor is our more advanced interface where you can actually manage multiple ads, multiple campaigns, kind of upload in bulk. And this is a really great way that, again, if you want to scale your install campaigns or you want to get started on engagement ads, this is the place to start. So again, we'll take you through how that might work in an engagement ad scenario in a few moments as well. And lastly, we actually have third-party partners that we've vetted and approved and work really closely with who are experts in Facebook advertising. And these are called preferred marketing developers. These are really great people you can work with, again, as third parties to help scale your campaigns if you don't want to manage in-house. And so that's another resource we see that people get really excited about, is that we have these partners that we can help you work with. So again, I'm going to take you through just a few of these tools and how you can get started so that you can kind of see the step-by-step. So the first video I have here is showing how to do an install ad with our one-link flow. So you see here we're in iTunes. I copied my URL. I choose app installs because that's what I want to do. I simply paste it in there, and I continue. I'm obviously advertising the Facebook app. You upload your creative image. It has to be a 1200 by 627, so just make sure you have those specs. And quickly, you can already see it in the preview here. You can add your app name, some copy about what exactly you want to advertise for your app. You see my app icon is already pulled in from iTunes Store. And now I can set up some targeting really quickly. So you can see here I'm just putting some very standard targeting with age, and I get an audience size indicator on the right side letting me know how many people I'm about to target as well, and the suggested bid. So I can actually go down if I want to only target users who use English as their primary language. I can do that. I can check my ad campaign, check my bid type, make sure everything looks right, and after that, you place your order. It's that simple, which is pretty amazing. And then voila, you have an ad. So for running install ads, very, very easy and quick to get started. Again, just using your iTunes or Google Play URL. For engagement ads, you actually have to go through right now through our Power Editor, our more advanced interface. And I'll take you through that. And the only reason that is because it is a little more of an advanced setup, given that you are targeting your existing users. So we'll take you really quickly through that video as well. So you can see here we're already in the Power Editor interface. It's linked off of our developer site, so if you need to find it. You need to create a new campaign, so I'm just going to type in an example one right here. Make sure you set your budget, make sure you set how long you want your ads to run. So you can see I'm doing that right here. And after that, you click over to ads, because you're creating ads for this campaign. I'm making a new ad here. Before I do that, though, I just want to make sure I have my audience. So your audience, you need to actually upload some information about who your existing app users are. So there are multiple options here. There's some mobile advertiser IDs you can use, such as IDFAs. I already created one, so I'll just take us through this quickly, using emails, for instance. And here I am creating the ad. So again, creating just a fake one, making sure I choose app engagement as my objective, choosing my app that's already registered with Facebook, and choosing the platform. And after that, I can start setting up some of the creative. So I'll have to have a deep link of where I want my users to go. So for instance, this one is actually going to my app and showing an item. I can actually put in what the item is. I can choose my call to action, which is one of the more exciting parts about engagement ads, is you can actually choose what you want people to do. Put in your copy for how you want to entice them to come back into your app. Upload your app icon and your image. Make sure you're targeting the right devices. If you want to target Wi-Fi, that's an option as well. And then we just have to quickly make sure we have the audience that we uploaded earlier and custom audiences set. So you have to click advanced here, and then make sure you type in the audience that you uploaded. So I have my example audience here of my existing app users. You can also layer on standard targeting if you'd like. So if you want to only put ages 18 to 25 of those users, you can do that. We'll go to optimization and pricing, make sure our bid is set correctly, and then there's what's called an upload button at the top. And once you upload that, your ad is now ready to go, and you can go to Ads Manager and start seeing your engagement ad running in the wild. So it is a little more of an advanced setup, but it's extremely exciting when you actually start seeing your app users coming back and taking actions. We'll talk a little bit about measurement too a little later, so you can actually see down the funnel what people are doing after you've already started engaging them again. So I can actually start seeing people purchasing within my app after these ads, and start to really attribute that to my ad campaigns. But before that, I'm going to turn over to Lauren again, and we're actually going to talk about, hey, that's great, I know how to get set up, but Lauren, how do I actually reach the right people? It might be a little intuitive for engagement ads, but maybe not as much for installs.
Awesome, thanks, Kevin. So as you guys just saw, thanks to Kevin, it's pretty straightforward to get started with mobile app ads. But to his point, what's even more awesome about these ads is that you're able to leverage the power of Facebook targeting to really reach the right people at scale. And because of the way Facebook works, we know that you're reaching the right people based on the authentic information people are sharing on their public profiles. So Facebook targeting has a few different dimensions to it, one of which is demographic targeting. So as you can see here, you can use things like age, gender, or location to target users, as Kevin mentioned during the Power Editor example. You can also use features like social targeting, which is unique to Facebook, and you can see that by the yellow star on the slide. So social involves things like likes and interests, or targeting friends of a user, or even their activity if they've checked in at a place recently. You can also use mobile targeting to target things like operating system or device type, as Kevin mentioned, as well as Wi-Fi, which is a really cool feature because let's say if you're a mobile developer and you've created a really large app, you want to target people who are only able to download that app over Wi-Fi if necessary, you can go ahead and do that. And then finally, we have a feature called custom audiences, which again is unique to Facebook and is what Kevin walked through during the Power Editor example for engagement ads. This is a really awesome feature because it allows you to upload identifiable information about your existing users to Facebook and target those specific people. So let's say you have a web presence and you're now creating a mobile app and you want to upsell your web users to the mobile app. You can go ahead and do that and create a custom audience, target those users, and they create Flow or in Power Editor, and then run ads to those existing users. Another awesome feature with custom audiences comes lookalike audiences. And this works really well for mobile developers that both Kevin and I work with. They've seen a lot of success with this. It's essentially uploading a custom audience to our system and then asking Facebook to create a group of people who look like your current custom audience. So it allows you to expand the power of your reaching people who are most likely to use your mobile app.
Yeah, and I think that one's a great example that we see a lot of success with. People will upload, hey, these are my most active users, for instance, into custom audiences, create a lookalike, and they're going to be able to drive installs with similar people who are likely to be active users. And another one that I don't think is listed here, but is really important, especially for engagement ads, is Apple's IDFAs. We can also use those for custom audiences. So not listed here, but that we also see a lot of popularity in using that, and similarly using that for lookalikes for installs. So we're actually going to talk a little bit about measurement, right? So we know how to get started, we know how to reach the right people, but now I want to know what results am I really driving from my campaigns. And that's important so you can fully see the effectiveness of your Facebook ad campaigns. So we have a few different options of how to do this. So one of the really awesome things we do is if you actually start measuring, we can actually show you the installs and actions, both paid and organic, in your app insights. And so this is just a great thing to have for overall app health, just to understand, hey, people who are opening my app, for instance, or installing my app, what kind of demographics are they coming from? Are they male? Are they female? What countries are they coming from? This is really interesting for mobile developers, especially small mobile developers who want to understand just generally who's in their app that Facebook can provide. We've actually heard from a few mobile developers that having this type of insight can be really helpful to understanding where should I localize my app. Should my app have more gender-targeted sort of deals and things like that? So that's just a really cool thing you get sort of separate from the ads attribution side of things that's really helpful for mobile developers. On the ad side, you can actually go into your ads manager once you start measuring and start seeing both installs and what we like to call app events. So those are actually in-app actions you can measure with our SDK. And you can actually attribute those to campaigns. So if I'm running an install campaign, I can actually see directly how many installs and app opens occurred as a result of my campaign. If I'm doing an engagement ad campaign, I can actually measure how many purchases, how many add to carts, how many reached level 10s occurred because of my engagement campaign, which is, I think, crucial to understand. Definitely. If I'm trying to engage my users and bring them back into my app, how are they actually engaging with my app, and what are my ad campaigns actually driving? And lastly, we actually have ways to see deeper insights with another set of third-party partners that are called mobile measurement partners. And these are actually partners really advanced in mobile app measurement and can actually give you things like a good sense of ROI from your campaigns, LTV for your campaigns. If you're using different multiple advertising providers, you can actually put those alongside each other in one dashboard. So it's, again, another sort of more advanced solution that we've have these third-party partners for. And again, I already talked a little bit about this, but I just want to show it a little more specifically. You can, after you start measuring, see the installs, see the actions taken as a result of your campaigns if you do integrate with our SDK. So again, this can show, as you can see in this image, how many mobile app installs were driven as a campaign, how many purchases, etc. So now I'm going to turn over to Lauren. We know sort of the full end-to-end of how to use mobile app ads, right? Just from this 20 minutes. So I'm actually going to turn over to Lauren on some creative best practices and things you can do to really get the most out of your campaigns and optimize for them.
Thanks, Kevin. So to Kevin's point, one of the common questions that I get from developers is, great, now I know how to use mobile app ads. What can I do to optimize my ad campaigns and ensure that I'm getting the best return and ROI associated with these ad campaigns? So because this is a common question we get, we actually worked with one of our internal teams to crunch some data and look at trends and analysis associated with the top performing mobile app ads on our system. And so we found five top things that we wanted to share with you guys. So the first is make sure that you test at least 5 different images with your ad campaigns. The reason being is that initially you may have an idea of what would work best with your audience and what resonates, but I often find that developers are actually surprised by what works best. And so I can't stress that enough. You want to test different creative, and creative really is king with this ad type. Second, make sure you're refreshing your creative at least every 2 weeks to ensure you avoid campaign fatigue. Third, make sure you target at least 500,000 people in each ad. This is a really important one, and something that I see developers miss quite often is that they're targeting too narrowly, and so they're not giving themselves a fair shot of getting as many effective and cost-efficient installs as possible. So definitely make sure you're targeting at least 500,000 people. Fourth, make sure that you have the same exact targeting for all ads in a campaign. The reason being is that if you put multiple ads in one campaign, our system actually auto-optimizes within that campaign to push distribution to the most effective ad. And if you're doing that, you want to make sure that then you're testing only on one variable, which should be creative and not the targeting. So I can't stress that enough as well. Make sure that the campaign setup is pretty accurate. And fifth, if you are able to run campaigns for different devices, then definitely separate the campaigns by device type. And think about that as an opportunity to actually customize your campaigns by device. So for instance, if you have an iPad version of your app, feel free to then target people on iPad and actually use an iPad in the creative so that it resonates with people as they're looking at the ad on their iPad. So these are the top 5 things that I've seen work really well for developers that I work with, and want to make sure you guys take these away as well.
Awesome.
Cool. So I know we've gone through a lot today. Thank you guys for joining us again and staying with us. So I thought it would be really great for Kevin to share with you all what's next. You know, we've done a lot in this past year with mobile app ads, and it's continuing to grow, which is really exciting to make sure we're meeting your needs. So Kevin, can you share what the product team is up to and what's next?
Absolutely, what I can share. So we obviously have a lot coming down the pipeline, and this is one of our top performing products we've pushed out. So we're going to constantly put a lot of effort into improving not only how you use these, but a lot of the different end-to-end parts of the ad. So for one, performance-wise, we always want to make sure we're helping our app developers get the best performance they can on Facebook. So one of the things we keep pushing is mobile custom audience options. So making it easier to target your existing users with what information you have from them on your mobile app. So we added IDFA to our custom audience, so you could use Apple's advertising identifier. We're looking at other ways to make that sort of easier. Another thing that just recently was released, and we're extremely excited about how well it's performing, is what's called CPA buying. That's cost per action buying. So if you actually have a history of installs and a good history of installs, you can actually start bidding for your mobile app ads based on the cost per install. So you can actually it gives you a good way to sort of watch your budget and make sure that you're only paying for the installs you're actually driving from Facebook. Another area we're focusing on is helping with the creative options. So one of these we already talked through is the one link flow, and that was a super exciting update a few months ago to make it just easier to sort of upload your creative, have things sort of pre-filled for you based on iTunes or Google Play. Another one that we recently released, again, which we're seeing just really great performance, we're very excited about, that if you have the creative you should definitely use, is video. And video has been performing extremely well, so you can now start uploading them for install ads. And it's just, again, performing very, very well, so you should definitely check that out. The last thing we have are just better ways to understand your metrics and measurement. One of these we talked about is app events. So app events is a way to sort of measure the in-app actions taken through our SDK. And again, you can actually use these for ads attribution. You can use these for your overall sense of your app health and what people are doing in your app, what demographics people are who are coming to your app. So these are all really exciting things we have coming, or that have already been released, actually. There's more coming, so continue watching our developer blog where we make all these announcements. As again, we are really significantly investing some time and effort into making both mobile app ads for installs and engagement a lot easier and better to use. So the last thing that I think Lauren will talk through is just other ways that you can find resources besides this webinar.
Awesome. Thanks, Kevin. So as you mentioned, we have here a list of additional resources, and they're all available at this URL listed on the page. And also this presentation will be available at a later date too, so feel free to watch it again if you didn't get a chance to take notes while watching it this time. But at this URL, you'll find resources such as tutorials explaining how to get started with our mobile app install ads, as well as our mobile app ads for engagement and conversion. You'll also find more information about measurement and the different resources available, as well as guides explaining how to use the different ad tools we have available and best practices and tips to keep in mind. And thank you to Kevin for helping create a lot of these resources.
Yeah, and the one thing I would just add on that too is that these aren't stale. These aren't things we made a year ago and just sort of let sit there. We constantly are updating these. We're constantly, whenever there's new features, we're adding in best practices for those and tips. So, just keep checking in with this stuff, and we'll keep updating it as we continue kind of pushing out new features.
Awesome. Great. Well, so with that, we want to go ahead and take questions from you guys. So we would love to start. I'll just go ahead and ask you a question, Kevin. So one of the questions we received from folks is, what are some of the tips you have on making a more impactful creative?
Yeah.
So do you have any tips for these guys?
Absolutely. And Lauren, so I know Lauren talked through a couple of these. There are a few others that I think are really important to consider. So, when you're going to build your creative and you're really thinking about your audience, the first thing you want to do, I would say, is you want to make it as logical for a user to understand really what you're advertising. So one of those is using mobile devices. If you have an iPad app, make sure you show an iPad. Maybe even show some of the screenplay so that user expectations match exactly what they're installing or what they're engaging with. Another one that might seem obvious, but we somehow see this, developers do this. Not always follow this best practice, is actually showing relevant creative for what your app actually does. So you might have, for instance, a table booking app for restaurants, right? And you think that showing like wine bottles as your creative might be a good way. It's sort of adjacent to restaurants, but that's actually confusing to a user. They might think that they're downloading an app that helps them, scan wine bottles and see the best prices. So, making it as relevant as possible, showing restaurants, showing your, screenplay, things like that are very, very important. The other thing that I think Lauren talked through is testing different types of creative. Just having in one campaign, if you're targeting one audience, just have multiple ads running so that you can actually see, is this creative actually performing well, or is a different type of creative doing better? And again, Facebook will automatically optimize against which ad is performing the best with your audience. And lastly, I would just say the new creative options like video. That's a really, really exciting one that we are seeing really good performance, sometimes even better than the image creative. So I think that's one that you should definitely test and see if you have that creative. You should definitely test that and see if it works better for you.
Awesome. Thank you. So another question we received is, what is the difference between a PMD or preferred marketing developer and a mobile measurement partner? So I can go ahead and take this one. As Kevin mentioned earlier, a preferred marketing developer is someone that is there to help optimize and scale your ad campaign. So think of them as that creative partner. Whereas a mobile measurement partner was established specifically for mobile app install ads, actually, and they're there to help measure and analyze your ad campaigns and the performance. So that's really the distinct difference. One is for optimizing and scaling, and the other is around measurement.
And I think the question we always get, and Lauren, you might have an answer to this too, is when should I actually start using these? You know, when should I start using a PMD? When should I start using a mobile measurement partner? So, you know, I think my answer is always, when you feel you're at the capacity that you want to scale and you really want to go big, that's probably, and there isn't a defined budget, there isn't a defined number of ads or anything like that. But if you feel like, you know, you want extra resources and a helping hand to do that, that's the time when you should do it. Yeah, I think that's...
Yeah, and I would just add on to that, because I work with a lot of small developers, to your point, it's really important to note that a PMD does cost a fee and they're a great partner, but to be mindful of what's realistic for your budget. And so when you're at that point to scale and you're able to justify the ROI associated with your campaigns, that's when you want to engage a PMD. Before then, we have a lot of great tools that can help you do some of the same capabilities at a smaller scale. So definitely look into the PMD program, and you can find a PMD directory actually off of our Facebook developer site if you're interested in looking into this more.
Great.
Awesome. So we have time for one more question. So Kevin, do you want to take this one? The question is, what are some of the best practices for A/B testing ads? So as people are thinking about figuring out what campaigns work the best and which ads work the best for them, do you have any thoughts on kind of best practices for testing?
Yeah. That's a really great question. So I think in an ideal world, you'd want to use your custom audience of people. So for install ads, you'd want to use a custom audience of those who've already installed your app. Maybe do a lookalike audience, and therefore you're already going to find the best people to install your app. For engagement ads, you're going to want to use a custom audience of your existing app users. You can even segment further down than that if you have the capability. But I would say that, you know, some of the A/B testing capabilities we have, I already talked a little bit about creative, so that's something that, you know, Facebook automatically will optimize for which ads are performing best. You'd want to make sure that you're thinking about time periods. You'd want similar time periods when you're A/B testing. If you're doing different devices, like Lauren said, you'd want to actually do separate campaigns. I would just say generally the way to think about it is that if you're actually testing creative against one another, do the same campaign. If you're if you're targeting the same audience, if you're doing any other variable outside of that, then you're going to want to do separate campaigns to test that. So use campaigns as sort of your way to A/B test your ads against one another, dependent on sort of the targeting and the way you're thinking about your goal for that campaign. If that makes sense. I don't know if you have anything else to add to that.
That was perfect. The only thing I would add is that testing is so important. So everything that Kevin just said is spot on. And one thing I stress to my partners is to test as much as possible, because you'd be surprised what you learn about what resonates the best with your users, and check your analytics and your insights to see what is actually performing best and just continue to test. Yeah,
and I would say the reason we stress that so much is that we've seen partners who come in and run one ad and, you know, maybe they don't see the best performance. And there's so many variables involved in these kind of campaigns. It could be your creative, it could be your targeting. So, you know, continually testing is always the way that you're going to find the best performance. So having multiple creative, having multiple types of targeting in mind and campaigns, even if at a low scale, is a good way to really get a sense of what's working and how to continue doing that and optimizing your campaigns.
Yep. Awesome. Well, thank you, Kevin. It's been really great talking with you guys today. And as I mentioned, this video is going to be available later for you to reference for future campaigns. So we hope you get started with mobile app ads shortly and start growing your mobile apps.
Thank you again.
Thanks. Have a good one. Bye.